Okay, yeah, so we are just getting started here on TikTok. I'm about to go live on our Facebook page, and then I think we can go ahead and get started.
Awesome.
All right, so like we mentioned, we're going to be using Velvet Crush today. We're going to be using FolkArt Matte. We've got a lot of different colors. This is early October, so we're painting to gear up for Halloween season.
Right, so we can start decorating.
Exactly, yeah. And if you guys have any comments or questions during the live, whether you're watching on Facebook, watching on TikTok, let us know, and we will be happy to answer those questions.
Awesome.
Okay, you ready?
All right, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So like Steven said, my name's Emma Panuski. Tonight we're going to be painting Midnight Mansion. It's a really fun, spooky addition, possibly for your Halloween decor. We're starting early this year. I guess it's not really early. People are definitely decorating for Halloween. So we're excited to hopefully add this to your repertoire. We talked about it a little bit, but we're painting with the FolkArt Let's Paint Live kit. It's a really wonderful kit. You can find it on plaidonline.com. It comes with an assortment of FolkArt matte paint and an artist variety brush set. Once you go ahead and pick that set up, then you can paint along with us for all of our future Let's Paint Lives. And we have a ton of existing Let's Paint Lives, a really full library for you guys to browse from. So like always, I'll go through our supply list so you can make sure that you're ready to paint along with us tonight. And please feel free to comment down below if you have any questions. Let us know where you're watching from, what you're decorating for Halloween, all that good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, so to start off, we're going to be using FolkArt Matte Pure Orange, True Blue, Daffodil Yellow, Aqua, Wicker White, Lavender, Navy Blue, and Pure Black. I'm using the Artist Variety brush set. I have a pencil here. I have an 8x10 canvas board, my palette paper, water basin, paper towels. You're going to want some type of drying tool, whether that be our great Plaid heat tool or something like a blow dryer, some masking tape, a pencil, and then lastly, I'm really excited to give you guys a demo for our brand new FolkArt Velvet Crush. It's a really awesome two-step flocking process that's going to add a lot of depth and texture into our finished painting. So I'm excited to show you guys that towards the end here.
Emma, if someone doesn't know what flocking is, can you describe it real quick?
Yes, so it's kind of hard to describe, but it gives like a faux velvety finish. So, you know, picture the texture and the feeling of velvet. You can actually DIY that yourself to any surface with the Velvet Crush powder. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by sketching out our haunted house. So I'm going to start about 2 inches or so from the bottom of our canvas to kind of designate a horizon line for our painting. Next, I'm going to make 2 kind of like inverted lines. So they're going to be mirroring each other, and they're wider at the top, skinnier as it comes to the bottom. About 1.5 inches above that, starting and ending where we just placed those 2 lines, we're going to make another line, and then we're going to swoop down on either side, creating this roof. Come up a little bit there. Connect those.
And Emma, there's no pattern needed for this, right?
Correct. You don't need a pattern. I'm showing you guys how to sketch it. It's super easy. Anybody can do it. Okay, so once we get here, on the left side, we're going to do very similar to how we did these bottom 2 lines, but thinner. Make those 2 inverted lines. And then again, we're going to make that sloping roof connected there. And now we have to make our chimney. So kind of opposite, 2 inverted lines, but now they're going this way. A rectangle right on top. All right. And that's how easy it is. Now we can just kind of have fun putting in windows wherever we think windows should be. So I'm going to erase this pencil line so I have more room to add windows. But we're just creating little arches so they can be different sizes. You can really go crazy with it and add different shapes if you want. I'm going to have an arch for my door. So this isn't going to be a window, just a door there. I think it looks more interesting if your windows are kind of staggered. Maybe you don't want them to be in the same row or column. I think that's just going to make the painting look much more interesting.
Emma, Carla said on our Facebook stream that she has made pumpkins and ghosts this year. Seems like a great way to add to it, get a haunted house going, a haunted mansion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like ghosts are, ghosts are a very common Halloween trend, but I feel like they're really big this year.
We've done so many here at the office.
We have, definitely. Okay, so now for the moon, what I'm going to do is I am going to you can take any kind of common household object that's round to act as your template for the moon. So luckily I have this circular water basin that I'm using. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to go around with my pencil and trace our moon shape. So we get that perfect looking circle. Okay? All right, so last thing that we're going to sketch before we get into the painting are our jack-o'-lanterns. So I'm going to do 1 comma like that, and then I'm going to mirror it on the other side like that. Make a little stem, and then you can draw in whatever jack-o'-lantern face you like. I'm going to do 2 triangles. You can make a little smiley with some missing teeth. It's our first jack-o'-lantern. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do an arch, then 2 smaller arches in the middle.
This is really just simple shapes.
Exactly. It's a lot of simple shapes. So we're kind of have like a crescent moon, and then another smiley for this jack-o'-lantern because they're so happy that it's Halloween. It's their time to shine.
Emma, we've got viewers from New York, Kentucky, California. We love that you guys are here painting with us tonight. Be sure to let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We always love to hear that.
Definitely. Thanks for watching, guys. We're happy to have you. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my masking tape out and I'm going to start to mask off some of the windows, really, basically. We're focusing on the windows.
We've also got Colorado, Arizona, and Georgia in the house.
Oh, nice.
Welcome, guys.
Hey, guys. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we do that, we're going to start by taping off the outside here. So what we're really masking off is the areas outside of our haunted house, if that makes sense. So we're protecting the house, and mainly, I'm sorry, I keep saying the wrong thing. We're protecting the outside of the house. And really what I'm focusing on is anything parallel to where there's going to be windows. That makes sense. So like there and there. Alrighty, now we can get into the painting. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to load to my palette some pure orange and some daffodil yellow. I'm going to take, this is a 1/2 inch flat brush. Any kind of small size flat brush will work great for this. I'm going to dip it into my daffodil yellow, and for all of our arches, I'm going to kind of paint the bottom half with yellow. For all of those arches. And I'm not worried about you know, going outside of the arch, obviously, because we're going to cover that up with black later, so we don't have to worry about it now.
Thankfully, yellow's a really easy color to see through, too.
Yes, for sure. Oops. Okay, one thing though, I'm covering my jack-o'-lantern faces, so that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes, but if your jack-o'-lantern faces are a little bit covered, go ahead and just adjust that so you can get to your jack-o'-lanterns, because we need to paint some yellow on those too. Alrighty. So go ahead, add some yellow to your jack-o'-lanterns. Okay, so now I'm not even going to rinse my brush. I'm just going to offload some of that yellow and then go ahead and load some pure orange. And we're going to add that to the top halves of our arches. Go ahead and paint some on your jack-o'-lanterns.
The way it looks right now, the paint on the canvas, it kind of looks like candy corn.
I knew you were going to say that. It does look like candy corn. Okay, so now we're just going to focus on blending these two colors together. So I'm not rinsing my brush. I'm just offloading some of that orange, and I'm going in with a little bit more yellow, and I'm kind of starting in the middle and just lightly working my way up and down. I don't have that much paint on my brush now, just a little bit of that yellow. Barely any paint. And we're just kind of working it into that orange. Going up and down, and this is going to create a cool, like, soft glow effect. Oopsie. If you need more orange, go in with more orange. It's up to you how you want your glowing windows to look. But yeah, just kind of keep working at it. If you think it needs more of one color, go ahead and add that until you're happy with how it looks. And I'm happy with mine. So again, we're focusing on how the inside of the arches look and how the faces of our jack-o'-lanterns look. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush. Okay, I'm going to remove my tape now. And I'm going to take my heat tool and go ahead and blow dry what's on the painting so far. All right, it's pretty dry. So now we're gonna do a little bit more taping. So right now, what we're focusing on taping is our arches, the faces of our jack-o'-lantern. So we're not worried about, totally taping up the whole jack-o'-lantern. We actually don't want to tape up outside of the body of the pumpkin at all. We're just worried about taping up those faces, okay? Make sure it's nice and on there. We don't want any paint to bleed underneath it. All right, so now guys, when we're focusing on taping the arches, like this middle arch, I'm not gonna worry about it because what we're taping it off for is when we go ahead and make a really beautiful blended background for this. But I'm only worried about kind of like what's near the background. So we're worried about the arches that are near an outer edge, if that makes sense. Okay, so once you have the tape down, that's going to come in contact with the outside of your house. We're going to do a little bit of color mixing. So I'm going to go ahead and mix a ratio of like 1 part True Blue to 2 parts Aqua. We're going to mix these 2 colors together until they are well combined. It's a pretty color. Mm-hmm. Okay, so taking this color that we just mixed up, we're going to use it to paint in a base layer for the background for our sky. So we're avoiding the haunted house if we can. It's not a big deal if you paint a little bit outside the lines, but we just want to keep that sketch that we initially did so that we know where to add the black paint back in the end. So I'm going around the moon. And again, I'm working with that 1/2-inch flat brush right now. I may switch to a smaller flat brush when I get into some of those tinier areas. I'm gonna work smarter, not harder, so I'm gonna flip it around a little bit just because it's easier to work at this angle sometimes.
If you guys watch Andy Jones on our Let's Paint with Plaid page, he says don't be afraid to flip your canvas around all the time.
It's true. All right, so I'm gonna actually rinse my brush now. so that I can get into some of those tinier areas with a smaller brush.
What size brush are you using right now?
Good question. This is a number 2 flat. All right, so once your canvas is kind of starting to look like mine, I'm going to rinse this brush, and I'm going to use my heat tool again to dry this in place. All right, it's pretty dry, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Next to my palette, I'm going to add some lavender and some navy blue. And I'm going to take out my 1/2-inch flat brush again. If your flat brush is dry, I'm actually going to dip it into my water and then take up a little bit of my lavender with that wet brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my painting from the left to the right in like a wave. My brush is super wet, so it's almost kind of like creating a wash. And now you guys can probably see why we added so much tape over some of those painted areas, is because we're protecting it from this step.
This probably feels scary to some people, but
yeah,
there's a method to the madness.
There is a method to the madness. Don't worry, you guys. That tape is going to protect you, I promise. But I'm just going in with a little bit more water to my brush and slowly adding in that purple. And because the paint is watered down, we can still see those lines that we want to see, right? All right, I'm going to rinse my brush, and with that wet brush again, we're going to do the same thing with our navy. Just incorporating some of that water into the paint there. You don't really have to go through the house if you want. You can kind of just imagine how it's going to come out on the other side. But I'm kind of touching up to that purple too, blending those two colors together with my wet brush. letting the water help me blend as I do it. Rinsing my brush. Now I'm going to do the same thing with that background color that we painted. So, you know, it's already on our canvas, but essentially now we're just kind of blending it in really well with those other colors that we have down on our canvas. So blending it with that navy and that purple. Adding more water if you need a little help with the blending. All right, and now this is really just the fun part, you guys. You get to keep layering the colors, adding more of what you like. Remember, water is your friend when you're blending in a way like this. So just, you know, make sure to dampen your brush if you feel like you need to or want to.
Imagine if somebody had just joined, like, especially on our TikTok. They'd be like,
This doesn't look good.
Like, what is this?
Trust the process,
Yeah.
you guys.
We're going to say that a couple times.
Yeah, right. All right, so once you're happy with the background, it's blended how you like your layers of stripes going on, I'm going to take my heat tool again and dry it in place. All right, so for the next step, keep your masking tape on. We're about to keep doing some more cookie stuff. Again, trust the process. I'm gonna flip my canvas around. We're gonna focus on our moon. So, you know, we used kind of like a watered down paint mixture before, so hopefully you can still see that initial sketch of your moon. If you can't, it's not a problem. You can go ahead and sketch out that circle again with your form if you want, but hopefully you can still see some of the white coming through. So I'm going to add some titanium white to my palette. I'm sorry, wicker white. I'm going to take my 1/2 inch flat brush, dip it into my white there, and fill in our moon. And really, we're just trying to make sure that all of those areas that we covered with the background of our painting are going to be white again. So I'm going to switch to my smaller brush so I can get into some of those smaller nooks and crannies here and freshen that up with white again. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the tape from my arches that are inside our house. See, our glow is still there, you guys. I'm going to take my 1/2 inch flat brush now. Make sure it's nice and clean. But with a little bit of a wet brush, I'm going to pick up some of that daffodil yellow from earlier. And in a swooping motion, we're going to go around and introduce some of that yellow into our white moon. Like that. So now we have sort of a glowing moon effect.
Emma, where you're at now, can you hold it up to the camera?
Yeah, for sure. Is that good?
Yes.
Cool. All right, now I'm going to remove the masking tape from our jack-o'-lanterns. So now we kind of have some craziness going on, huh, guys? But in this next step, I promise it's all going to come together.
We keep saying that.
But no, I don't say that in the next step it's going to come together. I said trust the process.
You're right, yes.
But I promise this next step, something big is going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to take my heat gun, I believe one last time, and go ahead and dry our moon in place. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add some pure black to our palette. And I'm going to take that small flat brush that we've been using.
Emma, Sean had a question that we talked about a little bit, but they asked if you don't have a heat gun, could you use a hair dryer? Yes, absolutely.
Totally, yep. Good question. All right, I'm going to dip that small flat brush into the black, and we're going to fill in our haunted house. Of course, not the arched areas. You guys can see what it looks like here. But we're just following that initial sketch that we made. So here we're going on the roof of the house, tippy top. I'm going to come back down on the other side. And one thing that I'm realizing is going to be a really great idea. Let's go ahead and outline the arches first so that we, when we're painting in our black, we can make sure that we don't cover up any of that work that we did, adding that glow to our windows. So I'm taking my small flat brush. I'm going to outline every arch, so that it doesn't get lost in the chaos.
BJ asked where can I find the recording of this after it's done. After our live stream ends here on Facebook, you can watch it in the videos tabs on our page. It should just be posted there immediately once the live is done.
Cool. All right, so once we fill in the arches, we can focus back in on painting in the shapes of our initial sketch of our haunted house. If you guys were skeptical of me earlier, are you starting to trust me again?
Yeah, sometimes you just got to see it all the way through. You know?
Very true. my canvas around. Oh.
Emma, could somebody use some glow-in-the-dark paints on this?
Yeah, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, we don't have any with us. Somebody just asked about that, but you
Oh.
definitely could put some on the
Yes,
moon.
that's a great idea. Yeah, Stephen, you could totally put it on the moon. You could even put it on the, the windows, the jack-o'-lanterns. You can make your own pattern somewhere where there isn't like a form or a shape yet, and add some glow-in-the-dark paint. That'd be super cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, if you're using our invisible glow, the painting a little ghost around the house would be cool.
That'd be so cute. I love that idea. FolkArt has a ton of great glow-in-the-dark products. Like Steven said, we have invisible glow, super glow.
We've even got like neon, which is sort of a version of glow.
For sure, we have different colors of our invisible glow now, which is awesome. We have glow stardust, which is really cool. It's like these little particles that are in a clear base, and the particles glow. All of those products are really fun for Halloween especially. I think that's a great idea. Oh, my chimney.
Can't forget.
Almost did. Where are the bats going to fly out of, Stephen?
Exactly.
All right, you guys. I'm not going to rinse this brush yet. I'm going to opt for even a smaller brush than this to outline the faces of my jack-o'-lantern, just because they're a little bit more detailed. I'm just opting for a number 10 liner brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trace the sketches that we made so that the shapes are kind of set in stone and I don't have to worry about it when I'm going in with kind of a bigger brush later.
Emma, what size canvas are you painting on?
This is an 8x10 canvas board.
That's what I thought. I just didn't want to tell anybody the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You can use just a regular canvas, but I am using or painting on a canvas board tonight because I thought it would look really cute in a frame. Canvas boards are easy to place into decorative frames, and I actually added some Velvet Crush to my frame too, which I believe I listed in the supply list some additional Velvet Crush colors that were optional because once you guys learn how to use the product, I wanted to share with you guys what colors I used on the frame. It's looking pretty cute, you guys. All right, I'm going to take that small liner brush again, and we're going to add some, what's the word, painting to the frame. Am I using that word right, you guys? Let me know. For this, I am doing really all different patterns. I'm typically painting one center line in the middle, but then I have some that are kind of making a V, some that are going straight across. Same thing as before when we were adding our windows, and I said I thought it would look better if they all looked a little different, if they were all in different areas on the canvas, if they were different sizes. Same kind of deal, just to add some interest to the painting. And I especially think it looks good with our haunted house tonight because I think the wackier and the kookier a haunted house looks, the more intimidating and spooky it is, to me at least. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, we did, let's see, recently I don't know how to describe it, like a Barbie house remodel and turned that into a haunted house, and that was way less cartoony than this. It was a little on the spookier side rather than cute, but that's a super cool project. Check out our Instagram and our TikTok to find that.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not following us on our social pages, we share lots of great project inspiration, especially for the holidays. So with Halloween just around the corner, we are sharing lots of cool ideas for DIYs, paintings, everything that you, if you're interested in something like that, there's something for everybody. Next, I'm going to paint some bats flying out of our chimney here. So I'm going to paint 1, 2, 3 dashes, and then 2 little dots coming out from the dashes. Those are our bat ears. And then an arch intersecting them. It's going to be the top of the bat's wings. Arch, arch, squiggle, 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 squiggle. Arch, arch, squiggle, 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 and then fill it in. Show you guys it closer. Arch, arch, squiggle, 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 fill it in. Okay, now I'm going to opt for my 3/4 inch flat brush, the biggest one yet, just to quickly paint the bottom of our scene here. A straight line there. cute. All right, so this is pretty much it, you guys. So this is where the painting is complete before we get to our velvet crush. So I want to show you guys a little bit of that so that you get the idea of how to use it and incorporate it into all your paintings. I'm going to give you guys a few tips and tricks, but I want to make sure that you guys know how to add it to your painting so that you can have fun embellishing all your paintings with Velvet Crush. But first, I'm going to use my heat tool again to dry my black paint. All right, so before we use the Velvet Crush, I'm gonna move my palette out of the way because it can get a little bit messy. Okay, so first thing that I want to tell you guys about Velvet Crush, there are a couple things that you'll want to be familiar with beforehand. It's a two-step process. So we have our tinted adhesive, and then we have our flocking powder. So it's going to be two separate bottles. One thing that I like to always have is something to catch my Velvet Crush. So I'm just going to use the back of this palette paper. Since it's right here, might as well reuse it. But you'll want to have something like a sheet of printer paper, a piece of palette paper, something that's flat and foldable so that you can easily reclaim some of the powder that falls off. Okay, so I am going to position my project over where I'm going to apply the flocking powder. Oopsie. And one thing that I want you guys to keep in mind is that it's easier to work with the powder in sections. So I'll give you guys an example of that, but that's something that we want to keep in mind. The most important thing is, though, we recommend that you wear a dust mask while you're working with the FolkArt Velvet Crush because it is, tiny little flocking particles, so it's really easy to breathe in when you're working so closely with it like this. So just while you're working with the Velvet Crush, you want to wear a dust mask just like this, nothing too crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on. All right, so now we're going to take just a regular paintbrush. I'm going to take my 3/4 inch flat. I'm going to put some of the tinted adhesive.
These are brand new bottles.
It's a brand new bottle. I'm going to put some of the tinted adhesive onto my paint palette there. And we want to work fairly quickly. And again, we're going to work in sections. So I'm using the 3/4 inch flat, and I'm going to apply the tinted adhesive to the whole bottom section of our painting here. So I'm just going over where we went over with the black, and we're attacking the whole foreground of our painting. And now quickly, while the tinted adhesive is still very wet, I'm going to take our flocking powder and we're going to squeeze the bottle. We call this like we're poofing it. Mm-hmm. We're going to squeeze it to all of the wet areas of the painting. And again, don't be afraid to overdo it because you know, if you think you're adding too much, you're not wasting it. It's just gonna take on whatever it can. I like to give it a little shimmy and then tap, 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 tap. And you see that's why we have something to reclaim the powder. And then you get this really beautiful velvet ultra matte finish. Isn't that cool, you guys? It's so easy to do.
It comes in a ton of colors. I think like 10 or 12.
Yeah, it comes with it has a really pretty line of colors. Some beautiful green, blue, purple, a lot of pretty neutrals. And I don't know about you guys, but especially this Halloween season, for whatever reason, I am seeing flocked decor everywhere. I can't walk into a home decor store without seeing something flocked.
We've got these ceramic bunnies that we did some flocking on. We've got these like tiny little busts, like, you know, sculptures that we've done.
Super cute stuff.
Yeah, so it's not just for flat canvases.
Absolutely. It's really great for 3D items as well, and it's multi-surface, so it works well on glass, ceramic, canvas, as you see, obviously, wood, a variety of different surfaces. So I just want to show you guys how I would apply it to another section. I like to work in, you know, pretty divided sections just because it works best that way. So I have the foreground flocked. I'm going to now focus on this pumpkin. So as you can see, I switched to a smaller brush so that I can control where the tinted adhesive goes. But the flocking powder only sticks to the tinted adhesive, so you don't have to worry about like only applying the flocking powder to certain areas. We're going to worry about only applying the tinted adhesive to certain areas. But when I'm, you know, getting up to areas where I flocked previously, I'm really carefully toting that fine line because I don't want to paint over that previously flocked area. That won't be good. So I'm just carefully going over the new areas. And then again, poof, poof, poof. It's really kind of fun to do, you guys. Give it a little shimmy shake and then tap, tap, tap. See how easy it is? So you would ideally work in sections, going over your house. So maybe do like this area, and then the roof, and then the body, and then the pumpkin, and you're done. It's super fun and super easy to do. And just quickly, I want to show you guys how easy it is to reclaim the powder too, because you might be thinking like, you're wasting a lot of that, but we're not. It's really easy to save it and then just kind of re-add it to your bottle. So I'm going to fold this in half carefully. I'm going to open up the top of my bottle and then direct the powder back in. And it just slides back in there. Some of those crumbs you can just kind of wipe away, but just make sure you're wearing your dust mask. And then you just have it back in your bottle, ready to use again. Really fun and simple. Okay, you guys, so I want to give you guys a big thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Like always, we have a Let's Paint Live the first Thursday of every month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to go check out plaidonline.com so you can see our entire repertoire of previous Let's Paint Lives. And then you can always re-watch this video too to paint along with us again sometimes. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.